You could do manual drafting, but I don't know why you would want to, honestly. Hi guys, it's Anya from Interior Design Hub, and today I'm going to tell you guys the tools of the trade, what I think every designer should have in their toolbox. The first thing that I would say is absolutely imperative in any designer's toolbox is a notebook. Now, I have two different notebooks. I'm going to show you both of them. So I have one for my note-taking and one for my on-site sketching. And really, you do need both, but you could just work with a big one if you want. Generally, when I meet with a client, I like to have one notebook for my notes. So just a small one that I can write all the information down, budgets, certain materials or finishes that they're looking for, anything that would really help me with the design of the space. So I also like to have a larger notebook, and that's where sometimes I'll do my freehand sketches on it, especially if we're kind of spitballing ideas. I might just sketch out what I think they might like. So a notepad is really important that's blank for me. And what I also do in my notepad, if I don't have a set of drawings already, like a base building plan we call it, I'll actually sketch out the floor plan in here and I'll make all my notes on there. And what I also use with this, usually once I've gone home, is, and I really do think this is a must, tracing paper. So sometimes when I'm trying to work out a plan and I'm actually trying to figure out my design concept, I'll use tracing paper to kind of do bubble diagrams and basically figure out where the heck everything's gonna go on the space. So honestly, I think at the bare minimum, you need a notebook, you need tracing paper, and you can just use the one and write all your notes in there. I like to keep them separate, but that's just me. So once I've actually put all of my plans on AutoCAD and printed them out, I'll also often use my tracing paper to sometimes do some notes on my CAD drawings. Why I do that is I don't always want to mark up my CAD drawings until I've maybe done some red lines and worked things out over trace paper to make sure that what I'm thinking I might need to tweak actually makes sense. I'll also do that in AutoCAD, but sometimes you just need pen to paper. And I find that's one of my biggest things is I like to have pen to paper. I sketch out all of my ideas, all my concepts, even my millwork designs. I'll sketch out really rough. So generally when I'm working out some type of concept, I might even just sketch out an elevation. I might do a detail, but basically this is my gold. I have so many of these notebooks, from taking notes to doing drawings. I really just couldn't live without my notebooks. I have far too many, and then it becomes like a little bit of a problem because I have lots. So what else is really important? I mean, I've talked about the sketchpad kind of before I talked about all the information that you put into that, so oops, but you need a measuring tape. So measuring tape is extremely important, obviously, because how else would you note everything? But basically, I use this for detail work. You're probably like, what? Okay, so I use my measuring tape for the small stuff. So a windowsill, or maybe there's like a bump out in a wall, I'll use that for this. But what I actually prefer to use, and this is like the best, this is what you need. You absolutely, like, if you're a designer and you're going on site, this will just save you so much time. This is one of those things that, like, I just couldn't live without this. When I first was in the business, I never used one of these. I know, like crazy, and they existed. I just never used one. Now, I would turn around and drive home. Like, I might even go buy another one. Like, I need this with me. This is like in my purse at all times. I have to have my laser measure. Now this laser measure, I am gonna tell you guys, like, I really like this one. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and this is like, I'm not sponsored, this is not a plug. I've been using the Bosch laser measure for years now, and I find, like, this is my second one. I think I dropped and broke the last one, but it just, I don't know, it's just super user friendly. And I've had other ones and I find this one's, I don't know, the most accurate, I guess. I've just always really preferred this one, and it's like super tiny. I'll measure it. It's 4 inches. Like, honestly, it's a tiny little measure. So it just fits in everything. 4 inches by 1 inch in depth, if you wanted to know. See, it comes in handy. You have to have these things. You must have these tools. Okay, So some details on the Bosch. Now, okay, so this is in Canadian dollars. I think they go on sale because I actually think I bought this for like $90, but I just looked online and it's $125 right now, and there's a little bit of a sale going on. Now that's Canadian dollars, so in the US it would be cheaper. Okay, so what I love about this is it's got extremely good accuracy. It also changes, I'm just reading the little notes because I didn't want to get it wrong. So if you move closer to an object, like let's say you're measuring from this back wall, but then you need to measure up on the frame, you can just kind of see both of those measurements, which is really great. You don't have to like reset it to do that. Also it has LED light on it, so if you're in low light, which I have been on site where, you know, the lights aren't turned on, like everything's just still off, or it's just an empty warehouse, so that's always very handy because you can actually see everything. I'll turn it on. I think I need a new battery soon. I'll do. But oops, oh my god, I like blind myself. But it's really easy to see, like the actual screen is super clear, which I really like. I wonder if you can, oh yeah, can you see that? So you can see, like, it's very easy and clear to see. So apparently it also does stuff with angles and things, but like I've never actually done that before on whatever double and direct is. I don't know what some of these things are on it. I just use it for measuring, especially ceiling heights, because those are super hard. And then just your lengths, your widths, like even like inside of a windowsill, because it measures from the back of this. So it's just awesome. Like, guys, if you're interior design or you're in have your own business or anything to do with measuring, just splurge and buy one of these. It's totally worth the money. I'll link it below for you guys because honestly, this is such a great little tool. Oh, one point on this. So this one that I have is 165 feet, and I do believe they have other ones that are for different ranges. So if you do commercial design, I do commercial design, and I haven't ever been in a space that's been longer than 165 feet. For one span, but if you do like really massive spaces, you may need something larger, but they have a whole bunch of different ones, so you can check it out online. All right, so another tool that in the interior design world is an absolute must is AutoCAD. So AutoCAD, Revit, any computer aided drafting, you know, it could be something other than AutoCAD. I don't know what else you would really use. I think there's like 2020 or something. I'm sure there are other tools out there, but I would say that the gold standard across the board is AutoCAD. So having a desktop, a laptop with AutoCAD is really important. You could do manual drafting, but I don't know why you would want to, honestly. And you're charging people for the time that you're doing this stuff, so you really want to be as quick as possible. So AutoCAD allows you to be very quick with drafting, and when you go to design school, you learn how to use it. But you know what? There's a lot of YouTube videos that you could actually find that will help teach you some of these things. So if you're just kind of curious about it, so you can do a free trial with AutoCAD and actually like kind of play with the system, and even Revit. So the difference between the two is they're both Autodesk systems, but AutoCAD is just a drafting tool. It's kind of like the gold standard, what everybody's been using forever. AutoCAD is like the original. Autodesk also does Revit, and what is awesome about Revit, and I'm just learning it and getting, you know, into it now because we never learned it in school, is it actually does everything in 3-dimensional for you. Oh my God, it's so cool. So you actually end up getting, you draw your floor plan out, and then you basically have already created your 3D drawings, and it renders, and it's like realistic rendering. So it's really cool. It's an awesome tool to learn. So if you are interested in knowing, you know, how to use it, there are tutorials on YouTube, free trials. I know for AutoCAD there's a free trial absolutely that you can try, and if you know, just kind of play with it, you'll probably figure out some of the basics. But it's one of those things that's really essential to the job. Like you need to use some type of computer aided drafting. So those I would say are the key. Oh, I almost forget the most important one. And you know what? They're all important, but a camera. Now I'm holding up my phone because the reality is I just use my phone for everything now, but definitely having a phone to take pictures on or some type of camera, because you definitely need visual of your space. So whatever space that you're going into that you're going to do a design of, you need a camera. I just find it, you know, there's always those little tiny things that you go, oh, what was that? There was like some weird thing happening in that corner. Take a picture of it. And honestly, take more pictures than you think you need. I always try to do a picture from every corner of the space. And then if there's something weird or some bump out or some detail that I really want to make sure that I don't forget, I take a picture of those too. So I definitely try to recommend that you take a picture of basically anything and everything that you can think of, because when you're at home and you're drafting it and you can't remember something, the pictures will really help you. I've even had it where I've forgotten a measurement, and because I had a ceiling tile grid, I was able to count, because I knew each one was 4 feet long, that I was able to figure out the length based on the ceiling. So there are little tricks. And one more thing that I wasn't going to include, but you know, I thought I would just share it with you guys, because if you're in residential, I think it's it's definitely one of those things that's very useful. However, I don't think you need it to have in your toolbox, because you could just go to any, paint store and get samples. However, it is really nice if you do have your own fan deck. So by having your own fan deck, you can, when meeting with clients, kind of go over a color scheme with them. Or if they have something they're existing that they're working with, you kind of look at the color deck and try to decide what would work best with what they already have. So I don't know. I think it depends on where you are, whether if it's essential or not, because like I said, you could just pick from a paint store. However, Benjamin Moore has beautiful decks, and it comes in a little carrying case like this. I have the full box, so I can even cut out samples from it. And I use it a ton. I almost never bring it with me to a site meeting. But that being said, it's definitely something you need. And then when it comes to samples and finishes, really, I order those based on the job. So if I need a Formica sample, if I need a wood sample, if I need a carpet sample, if I need a laminate sample, all of those things I actually gather after I've already met with the client. Because once I've met with the client, then I know what they're looking for. Maybe they want hardwood floors. Maybe they want carpeting. Maybe they want, I don't know, leather floors. Maybe they want cork floors. I don't know. So until I've had that conversation, I don't really keep a ton of samples on hand, and I don't bring them with me to site, but I order what I need, and then I have an entire sample library that I have access to. So then I start pulling together my sample boards and all that kind of stuff afterwards. But you know what? This is what I think every designer needs to have in their toolbox. Ooh, one last thing, guys. Starbucks. Can you even call yourself a designer if you don't permanently have a Starbucks in your hand? I'm not actually sure. I'm totally just kidding. But honestly, Starbucks coffee is a must. I'm not sponsored. Starbucks, I have spent too much money with you, so hook a girl up. I think that covers everything that I would say is a must-have in your toolbox. So I hope you guys found this useful. I would say these are the things that I can't live without as an interior designer, and maybe some of them will add value to you and you can add them to your own little design toolbox. Until next time, bye. Excuse me. It's the Bosch laser, but I've been using a Bosch laser,